All right, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman is speaking out against Democratic socialist and New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. Fetterman claims Mamdani's politics do not align with those of the Democrat Party, as Mamdani has been pushing his socialist policies. He is radical and anti-Semitic. Oh, my goodness. So, a citywide rent freeze. So these are some light things on his list compared to what I just mentioned. City-run grocery stores and free buses.
Clearly, the GOP are now going to use him as their tent pole of messaging for the new upcoming elections for that. So for me, I mean, now he is a socialist. I mean, a proud socialist. I mean, he's not, I guess, a technical Democrat. I mean, I'm close friends with many very, very left Democrats in the Senate. But again, we don't have those kinds of views as well. So we have different views. I don't think that's helpful at this point to have that be someone that's been identified as one of the emerging faces of our party.
I mean, I think he just quit Mamdani. It was like, he's quitting him, bro. He just broke up with him. He kicked him out of the party.
He did, but as we were saying, as that was playing, it would be great if maybe they would realize that Mamdani is actually a socialist, maybe has communist tendencies, and they would kick him out of the Democrat Party. But they're more likely to kick John Fetterman out of the Democrat Party for talking about Mamdani. But he is exactly right, though, when he says Republicans are going to use this in the next election. Well, yeah, of course we are, because we're warning what happens when you let your city become deep blue. Then you don't just get somebody who's deep blue, you get somebody who is a radical socialist slash Marxist slash communist, and that's what you get. Also goes to this point, I want to make it real quick. The reason Fetterman is saying this is not just because he doesn't agree with it, but he's in a place that's a swing state.
Right.
And all of these deep blue AOC, Ilhan Omar, others that are real comfortable, they can embrace the socialism and the communism. Someone like a Senator John Fetterman, he knows he cannot.
Right. You know what's so interesting? I want to get deep into that point with you, David Webb, because I'm thinking Bernie Sanders. See, Democrats used to know that. They used to know that if they embraced that socialist side too much, they couldn't win, which is why they didn't nominate him.
The
right?
last of
what have they forgotten?
Well, they forgot that they want to win, but also, first of all, elect a socialist, get a communist. It's the last stage before communism. That is fact.
Say that again.
Elect a socialist, get a communist.
Okay.
It's the last stage. That's Marx and Engels.
That's unacceptable.
But it's true. Bernie Sanders said when he ran for president that my ideas that were once considered radical are now mainstream. He got his nose under the tent. Now he's in the center pole at that time when he ran for president. He brings along the next generation in AOCs and Jasmine Crockett's and Mamdani's. Where it comes to John Fetterman, and I get this public and this media, call it kind of a love affair with his statements, they are run counter to his actual votes. The guy said when it came to the debate in the Senate vote-a-rama that he would rather be at the beach with his wife and kids because no Democrat's going to vote for the bill. He didn't even want to do his job. The other thing is when you look at his voting record under Biden, he voted with Biden, with policies that are socialist policies in, frankly, countering the Constitution. He supported all those things. So a lot of people buy Fetterman. I don't buy him. And when you look at his mayoral background in his small town of 1,500 people, that is his leftist position. And his votes don't go anywhere from that. But again, elect a socialist, you get a communist. That's Mamdani.
Wow. The receipts that you bring on Fetterman, though, those, like, we've always known things like that. But I guess maybe people think they're seeing somebody shifting or new or whatever.
Well, Democrats will send a politician to, say, a Fox News when they need to appear to be moderate. And we've seen enough of them, congressmen from Florida, from Massachusetts, others who've come on these shows, Auchincloss, Moskowitz, and others, but then look at their actual voting records.
And I know you do. Emily.
I also, you know, we've seen that Senator Fetterman was sort of excommunicated, or at least attempted to be excommunicated by his own party earlier for daring to have common sense values. And so I wonder here if he's more, I think, ideologically driven. Like, I see this as actually someone saying, this is frightening and this is not representative of the majority of our party, as he resides in a state where, for example, the governor is Jewish. And this is a raging anti-Semite that the New York City Jewish population is frightened might become the mayor here. And they talk about someone who is, you know,
anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, all the things. No, thank you. So I think it is clear to me that this individual absolutely doesn't represent the Democratic Party that we grew up with and that we know, but certainly nor does it deserve a place anywhere in politics. And that's, communism and socialism aside, absolutely, but that to me is the most deeply frightening thing that has somehow become like lightweight acceptable among the Democrat Party, and I'm not quite sure there aren't more Democrats that are coming out swinging hard against this. Because why are people like Bernie Sanders loving this and endorsing Mamdani? To me, anti-Semitism would trump whether I felt aligned with someone politically.
Well, it would for us.
Right.
But not for everybody. And you know who knows that? Fetterman, with that Jewish governor who Kamala Harris didn't choose when she knew she needed that vote to.
Yeah.
I mean, what a hot mess that party is.
I think that this is going to be a tentpole, not just for the GOP, but for the Dems. I mean, they're saying they're expanding their tent. I mean, this isn't the party we grew up with, but it is the party that we know. It is Bernie Sanders. It is AOC. It is Ilhan Omar. The left is showing us, with the acceptance of Mamdani, which you're seeing, Clinton was like, congratulations. Like, really? They're showing us that they have completely abandoned the center. And the greatest irony, I'll point this out, is that the people who are going to vote for this guy are the rich, college-educated elites. And then when he destroys the city, exactly like what happened in the 1970s here in New York, they're going to leave. And they're going to go where you live. They're going to go to Austin. They're going to go to Nashville. They're going to go to Miami. And they're going to take their politics with them and leave the working class here to suffer with their choices.
You could not be more right about that, because when you look at the polling of who voted for him, Mamdani, versus Cuomo, even though Cuomo lost.
Yep.
But where Cuomo didn't lose by 13 points, he won, were with lower income people.
Yep.
Possibly.
Working class.
They can see through this guy.
Yep.
I don't know.
People of color.
The richest
and they're
in the
going to be
city
the ones dealing with him.
in majority for Mamdani. It's exactly what you said.
And then they're going to flee because they can.
Because they
Capital
can.
is mobile, and all of those people that saw through it are going to suffer.
All right, but there's one voice. And do we think a difference if President Trump gets involved in this? Real quick, anybody?
The fact is, Democrats outnumber Republicans in voting percentages and in registration about 11-1 in New York. It's between 8 and 11 at any time. The Democrats have this. It's either a socialist, a guy with a, frankly, body bag count with his decisions during COVID in Cuomo, or Mayor Adams, who failed the city following Bolshevik bill. I mean, New York's in real trouble here.
All right. We're here to cover all of it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.